Happy Friday, everybody. Big welcome to my house. Now, this part of it is clean, okay? You can't go any further than this. And I hope everybody has their virtual cup. Well, you can have a real cup of coffee or a real cup of tea. Or if you want to have a little bit stronger, absolutely no objections on my side. So if anybody has any questions at all, post all your questions in the comments. Deirdre will call them out to me and we'll try and answer as many as we can.
Now, can I just say our tech setup is not as good here as it would be in the school. So
because obviously we're not in the school, okay? So we have all the sofas kind of pushed over to one side. I have a couple of nested tables here trying to lay the stuff on, and there'll be stuff probably everywhere. I will show you my Christmas tree because I'm actually very proud of my Christmas tree this year. I think it turned out gorgeous. But anyway, back to decorating the fireplace. So we normally do this every year, is where we do kind of like live from the house here, decorating, that you can actually see what it's like and how casual, how informal and how it all comes together. And we will have a lot of people watching here, past students of the school, but even like people who do weddings themselves. And what I'm going to do here today can easily be adapted for decorating a fireplace in a hotel, you know, or a mantelpiece in a hotel for a wedding or a special occasion. So it doesn't just have to be Christmas. Now again, as I said, if you have any questions, post them in the comments. But anybody that wants to make a list of the materials that I'm using, I am going to be using eucalyptus, quite a lot of eucalyptus today. And the eucalyptus that I am using, I bought in from Wicklow Foliage Farm, obviously in Wicklow, Red Cross County Wicklow. So a huge thanks out to Stuart Williams and also...
and Ursula.
And Ursula, oh yeah, and the Mrs. Stuart and the Mrs. Ursula, big shout out there for them. And all the spruce wreaths that we have been using over the past couple of weeks for our Christmas courses, a huge shout out to James down in the Irish Green guys in County Kerry. So all the foliage that we have been using has all been natively grown foliage. So back to today's, I'm also going to be using some holly. And if you buy your foliage from Wicklow Foliage Farm, you can have a choice. Do you want variegated holly, or do you want the plain green? Do you want prickly holly or non-prickly holly? So I went for the non-prickly holly just to make it easier for today's demonstration. And also I'm using some of the silver Sussex. Now I know any of the horticulturists are watching, they're saying, where is she going with the silver Sussex? We decided to call it silver Sussex here at Case Flower School. Everybody else out there calls it Sussex Silver, but I think that sounds backwards. So we decided to call it silver Sussex because it sounds much nicer. And that's the selections of foliage that we're going to use. Now, flower-wise, I have some roses, okay? The variety of rose that I'm using is called Rhodes, R-H-O-D-E-S, and I'm using a longer stem and a shorter stem of them.
Lots of comments saying that they're glad you went with the red.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, like I put up there the other day before I ordered in the flowers, because our intention was to actually do a kind of that cafe de latte, you know, the cappuccino, kind of like more of them kind of coffee sort of shades. And that's what we thought everybody would go for. And it was gas, like I'd say definitely 95% of people said, no, Janette, do the red. So I said, yeah, no big deal, we'll go for the red. My sitting room here is actually quite old-fashioned, traditional, do you know that way? So you kind of find the traditional sort of style actually works. So I didn't really mind. So I'm going to use red roses. I do have some spray roses here as well, and I'm also going to use the ilex berry. Now the disaster about the ilex berry is when you're working with it, lots of the berries fall off, but once it's actually on site in the arrangements, normally there's never a problem. But also what I have, because again it's old-fashioned, okay, and I have this kind of gold mirror around, I'm going to use some of the sire grass. You see this? And this is it's like a kind of a fern, and it's sprayed gold. It lasts for ages, by the way. And even just to have it in a vase, like with nothing else, or even to have it in a vase with some of the ilex berry or with a couple of red roses or whatever foliage you decide to use or any flowers you decide to use, do you see, like even mixed in among like your eucalyptus, it's absolutely gorgeous. Now we bought that in from the Dutch suppliers, so if you're buying wholesale, you get it in from Hug Flowers in Holland, but otherwise go to your local flower shop and they'll get it in for you. So any questions so far?
No questions. We've lots of people tuning in, and we've lots of people from very far away, from New Zealand, and from, I think it was Veronica from Syracuse in the States, and it seems to be very early in the morning over there. So they're up now with having their breakfast at the moment.
Fair play to you for joining us. We have a class this afternoon, so that's why we had to do this a little bit earlier today. Now, container-wise, I am going for a foam arrangement today, and I don't want all the objections about the foam free. We covered all foam free on Wednesday night, so we're looking after both, and obviously with this arrangement we want it to last, okay? It is going to be in the sitting room where it's quite a warm room, so that's why I'm using the foam. So I have the double spray tray, so that's the double spray tray that holds 2 blocks of foam. I just have an extra piece of foam on top. And off either end of the block of foam, I've cut a small bit, just so you can see there, my fingers fit into the container. Where 2 blocks of foam fit securely into the container, but I have purposely cut them a little bit smaller. So again, that will fill with water, and again, it'll just increase the longevity of the arrangement.
Katie O'Shea says she loves your Christmas jumper, Janette.
But today is actually wear your Christmas jumper day. So did you not get the memo? You're all supposed to be wearing. So Deirdre has hers on. She'll come on camera here in a little while. Sinead, have you got yours on? No. Sinead is sitting over there on the floor now. She has, is there no chair for you, Sinead? She hasn't got her Christmas jumper on. So I'm using 3 of the spray trays. And I know there's a space kind of in between them. It'll be, well, I'm hoping it'll be fine. Hoping it'll work out. I'm being lazy today, and I just have the candles just sitting there. I didn't actually wire them in. So when I make the arrangement, I'm going to work around the candles. Now you can do that when you're doing that in your own home, or if you're making it on site. If you're doing it in your studio and you then have to transport it, sometimes it's easier to use, you know, the kebab sticks on the end of the candles. I do have a little video, and I'll post that in the next week or so, just to remind, you know what I mean, how you can secure the candles in, especially when you're using candles that don't actually need a candle holder.
Janette, remember we had a message from Santi that we forgot.
Absolutely. So Santi came back to me on Thursday. Do you remember Santi was here on Wednesday night? Well, he wasn't here in the house, he was over in the school. And when he went home, in his pocket, he had a sheet paper, okay, with some names on it. And there was one special girl, okay? Her name is Jennifer Ferguson. So hopefully Jennifer is watching today. And Jennifer's sister, Adele, is one of our past students. And seemingly Jennifer absolutely loves when Adele is doing her flower arrangements. And when the flower delivery comes from Holland, Jennifer is out there with the buckets, with the scissors, and helping her prepare. She watches seemingly all the tutorials for the classes, you know the way. And she was really so excited for Santi on Wednesday night. And they were texting in and shouting at the TV and everything. And Santi said he had wrote it down and he really meant to call it out, put the sheet paper in his pocket, and it clean went out of his memory. But he said to me, Janette, is there any chance that you'll pass on a special big hello, and maybe everybody's that's there, okay? Because Jennifer is a very special person, okay? And I know she would absolutely love to get lots of happy Christmases from everybody else that's watching. So a big hello there, Jennifer. I hope you're being a really good girl, and I know that Santi said he has a really special surprise for you for Christmas Day. So make sure that you go to bed really early on Christmas Eve night.
And sorry, we had one other, do you remember the other boy that was on that list?
There was another little boy, okay? And Santi, your name was on the same sheet of paper, and his name was Morgan Carroll, and he's an 8-year-old boy, and he was looking for a Lego. And when his name wasn't called out, he was in an awful state had Santi got the letter. So Santi said, yeah, he has your letter. As well as getting the Lego set, Morgan, he has something else special lined up for you. So again, you were told to go to bed early. So I have a list of messages to be passing on. I'm bad enough doing my flower arrangements without doing Santi's work as well. So what I'm doing is, with this arrangement, by adding the extra piece of foam, is I want to be able to bring the arrangement down, you see, on both sides. So not really kind of like kind of crescenty, but just kind of inserting these kind of pieces in on a slant, just up there a little bit higher, you know, that way. And again, inserting these ones kind of like upwards into the foam, you see, on an angle, just to kind of get your crescent shape. Now again, if you prefer, you can bring it up straight. And I did that one year where I actually came up straight nearly to the picture rail, but it's completely personal and it's up to yourself. So I'm just going to add in another couple of pieces here, another couple of pieces over here, and I'm trying to keep this as informal as possible, do you know, that way. The thing is with these arrangements, don't overthink them too much, okay? What does me bum look like, Deirdre, in this? Because they normally don't see me backside.
No,
you know,
yeah,
like,
it looks
do I
all
look
right,
big-
yeah.
Do I look big in
Well,
this?
after the comment you got, yes, was it yes?
Got a lovely comment this morning, I did. So somebody, and I reckon they're in America, not that I'm going to blame the Americans, okay? But when I looked at it at 8 a.m. this morning, they'd left it 5 hours previous, you know what I mean? So either they were out on the drink last night, or they're American, or maybe they could be Australian, because I don't actually know what the time zone was. But obviously somebody, different time zone. And she said to me, do you know what, Janette? You're actually starting to show your age. Well, I've been injecting the Botox all morning to see, like, will it make me look 20. So as I said back to her, well, listen, I'm hitting 55, and there's plenty of people over in St. James Hospital wouldn't mind looking as healthy as me today. And listen, we're living the dream here at Case Flower School. But anyway, hopefully she sobered up this morning when she woke up and she feels a little bit shitty. But you didn't offend me. Nothing offends me at all. Okay, so there I've just added in a couple of longer pieces, and then I have the Silver Sussex. And again, I bought this in from Wicklow Foliage Farm. And again, I'm going to add a few longer pieces of the Silver Sussex, you know, that way, kind of just coming around there to give us a little bit of a kind of a crescent shape. I'm adding some of it into the back, some of it into the front, some of it over to the side, and just kind of like hoping for the best.
Just stand back, Janette, from that we can actually see, the right-hand side, yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, next thing is, I've cut up the foliage. And people will always say, and what length did you cut it? As I take out each piece, you'll see it's a different length, okay? So just to save time and to save mess, okay, I just randomly cut up all the eucalyptus. So some pieces are that length, okay? And I might decide to stick that in on an angle, kind of going upwards, that's kind of trailing down. And some of them may be a little bit shorter. And this is where I may work back in on the floral foam to see that direction and let them flow out. So I could be real organised. If I had them all kind of similar lengths, I could go all along the bottom first and then kind of go along, like if you want to call it the back of the arrangement, kind of outwards on an angle. But just to save time, as I take up each piece of greenery, so there I have a short one, I'll kind of go back on the foam and let it stick out. Here I have a longish one, I'll go upwards into the foam. Here I have, I'm taking off the leaf at the bottom, it's a mediumish one, I'm going to go this way. And if you're trying to get a bit of speed up, that's probably the easiest way to do it, you know, that way. So do you see the way I'm kind of working very, very casual, okay? And I'm not measuring the pieces. What people do, or what some people do when they're doing flower arranging, okay, is they cut a piece to fit a spot. Where I do the opposite, I find a spot that suits the piece of greenery. And that way then I can work away like for speed. So I'm just going to go along here, stick in, as I said, as I take out the pieces, if they're small, I'm working up towards the top of the foam, and if they happen to be longer, I'm going to let them trail down. And I'm not sure how much or how little I'm going to use, so I'm leaving a certain amount of space in between them. I will be going back afterwards and adding in a selection of a little bit of holly and a little bit of Silver Sussex as well. Do you know, that way, just to kind of give us lots and lots of different textures. Now again, we'd love a little bit of feedback from you. So again, if anybody has any comments, good or bad, now don't start telling me I look old looking today. I've already been putting bad humour this morning. No,
Claire says Merry Christmas from Australia.
Hello,
Flower
Claire.
Shed said she must have been drunk. You look fab. Jane Hibben says Happy Christmas from Surrey. Christine McCook says you look fabulous. Don't be minding them.
No, I don't mind them. And as I said, I'd say she was after having a row with her husband or her girlfriend. I'd say that was wrong with her. And she probably was in bed, pissed off with herself. And she said, you know what? That one has a big smile on her face. And I'm going to wipe that smile off her face. And let's say that's what happened to her. But sure, listen, as I said, there's so much happening in the world nowadays. You know, that way. And we're all just lucky to be alive and kicking, do you know, that way, and enjoying life, and like, listen,
happy and healthy, as Deborah said.
Healthy is the most important. Like, we get so many messages from people, and you know what I mean, especially with the COVID and that, and they've lost people, and there's so much going on in people's life, you know, that way. You listen, you don't want to be depressed, you want to try and cheer up, you want to try and enjoy life. Get organised for Christmas.
It's nice to be nice.
It is nice.
Carol Shaw is popping in and she says, hi girls.
Good morning,
Sue
Carol.
is watching in from Croydon in the UK. I presume, there's UK flag up. Happy Christmas. Who else have we got? We've Claire from Sheffield. Laura Kamal says, you're never 55, you look 10 years younger.
Well, I'm not 55 for another 3 months. Thanks a million, you made me day. As I said, it was a little bit disheartening.
And Laura is actually the girl who won the course the other night.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Congratulations, Laura. I actually got your little video this morning. Really appreciate it. Thanks a million. And really looking forward to having you on the course in January. So it was brilliant. Great excitement the other night when we were giving away a free course. Like, we never give away one of the professional floristry courses. So that was like the module 1 course. It's a brilliant course. It's geared towards working in a flower shop. It's ideal for somebody who wants to do it kind of from a commercial basis, basically. And you can see here over this side, can you see the way I'm kind of like adding in them little few pieces there at the back, and then any of these little shorter ones that I happen to come across, I'm kind of like bringing them outwards on an angle out to the side.
Margaret Huddleston said, Janette, many's the one in a graveyard would be glad to look like you.
Exactly.
Happy Christmas.
This is it. Absolutely, you know.
Luxury Flowery says that you make it look so easy.
I'm just trying to keep it very casual, and as you can see there, all the greenery is cut up and it's all different lengths, you know, that way I have pieces that size and my pieces kind of a little bit longer. So when I find a small piece like that, rather than cutting a piece to do what I want, I can see there's what I call a cop-on spot there, and that'll just fit in perfect. Now the next one I take out is longer, so that would be better if it was kind of hanging down, you see, a little bit more.
Betty wants to know, is eucalyptus one of the better foliage to use that doesn't dry out?
It is. Now, will dry out, but it dries out beautifully. And the smell in the house is just amazing, do you know that way? And the other thing is, it's nice and light and flowy. Where I have done this previous years, you know that way, and I would have started off with Christmas spruce. Now, the Christmas spruce is a great lasting foliage, but the only thing is it makes your arrangement very rigid. Now, I'm actually purposely not adding any spruce in today. I'm putting the holly, the silver Sussex, and the firegrass into it. But I have previous years, and the videos are all out there of previous years where I have added in the spruce. But I just thought it made it very rigid. But it is a great lasting foliage if you want to use it. You know,
I'll be doing my mantelpiece now. We won't go into it as a live, but I use a lot of spruce in mine because I have a real fire.
Yeah, this is only a pretend fire, by the way. So even though it does light up and a little bit of a flame comes out of it, I tell you, you'd want to wear about 3 jumpers, no heat. It's literally, it's a gas effect fire. So there's a tiny little bit of heat comes out of it. But again, because there'll always be loads of people objecting. This arrangement, for some reason, does bring out a lot of begrudgers, you know what I mean? And they give out to me over using foam. But you know, if you've been following me throughout the year, I do lots and lots of foam free. And yes, this could be done with chicken wire and water, but this is a cast iron fireplace. My husband would kill me because it would rust to bits, you know what I mean, if you used a lot of water on it. And then people say, oh God, what about the fire lighting? Again, because I know my own home, do you know that way? I know that this is, you know what I mean, I do it every year and it works out fine.
Julie says she so wish she'd done her floristry courses with us. Your approach is so friendlier and easier to understand.
Thanks a million.
Elderwood Flower says, I love the beautiful red roses. I absolutely love traditional colours for Christmas. I chose blush colours for my decor this year and I'm missing the traditional colours.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Like,
you know.
it just depends.
Sorry,
You know
Janette,
that way?
somebody just asked about the scholarship. Did we announce the winner?
Yeah, I forgot to say that the other night. Well, not that I forgot to announce the winner, okay? You wouldn't believe, you know what I mean, the thousands, I swear to God, we haven't even opened over half of them at this stage, the amount of applicants that we got for it. And the plan was to have them all opened, dealt with, replied to, and have the winner to announce on the 8th of December. And I was on my list of things to do. Santi must have took my list as well on Wednesday night. And then it clean went down my mind, and it wasn't until I got a couple of emails, and I said, God, I forgot to announce about the scholarship. So what we had to do is just extend the date until we're going to announce the winner, because it would be completely unfair to just pick someone and then half of the emails haven't been opened and half of them haven't even been replied to. So what we are planning to do, as most of you know, today is our last day. Are we having a Christmas party, Deirdre?
Yay!
Today is our last day and the school will
Sinead
close.
goes home.
Yeah, Sinead is heading back to Scotland tonight, she is. So what our plan is over. I'll still be in and out
Sinead.
of school next week, kind of a little bit. But my plan is to
See it in the mirror.
open up all the emails. Can you see her there in the mirror?
No,
there
go
it
back
is.
where you were, Sinead. Yeah.
There you
No,
go.
no, over there to the door, in the door. Yeah, now waving.
So, just I forgot to mention, I have here the silver Sussex, okay? And again, what I do is I have it all kind of cut random lengths, and I'm just kind of sticking it upwards into the foam. And I hopefully will come across kind of a few shorter pieces. I'm working my way up around this kind of like crescent part of the display. Can you see like this? And I will find hopefully a couple of little smaller ones, and where I'm just kind of like, this one was a bit too long, so we'll put that one there. And hopefully I'll come across a few smaller ones where I'll kind of like step up on the foam just to kind of joining it up. So can you see how I'm working out this crescent? Now I know Deirdre from Elderwoods, again, she does a lot of weddings where she'll be doing mantelpieces, and this would be an ideal design. Now again, there's always going to be a smart aleck who'll say, what about the candles, okay? If you see my house for candles, I'm a hoarder for candles, and I don't believe in lighting them. But some of these candles are battery candles, you know, that way. So again, do you see the way I can still turn them on and off? So mostly I would plan to use nearly all battery candles, but I just wanted some random sizes. So I did include a couple of real candles, but I'll swap them around when I get more organised, you know, that way, and replace them all with battery ones.
Olive says Sinead is very good at following direction. Is she the baby of the clan?
Sinead is the baby. She does what she's told. It's not that she follows directions. She knows I'm the bossy bitch. You
Just
know
that
way?
corner on this side.
This side over here.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
Hanging down as well.
Okay. Look for a couple of longer ones. I'll come back to
Come
it.
back to that
Few-
corner, yeah.
Few longer ones there in a couple of minutes.
And just over that right hand, now I'm going to be really fussy. That right hand side, that silver Sussex piece is very chunky.
It is. Okay, thanks, boss. Are you? I thought I'm the bossy one. So there we
Yeah,
go.
that's better.
Right.
I can't give the man to give out about it.
Absolutely. This is it. You know what I mean? Because some of them would be in a right.
Somebody said, Julie says, will you be back next year? Also, could you use rosemary in the design?
Rosemary would be fabulous. You
Yeah.
know, that way it'd be absolutely gorgeous, and the scent would be amazing on it. Yeah, so yeah, it'd be brilliant to watch.
And even like the lavender as well. Like even though there's no flower on it, like the lavender foliage would be lovely too. I actually have lavender and rosemary in my garden. I might put that into my one.
Yeah.
Any holly? Yeah, Teresa, there's holly coming soon. We're
Yeah,
getting
well,
there.
Getting there, right? So a little bit of silver Sussex going through that. I have a few long pieces of holly here. Well, just one or two. So I'm just going to bring a little bit of holly up there because I have ilex berry, you see. And I'm going to use ilex to kind of bring a lot of berry through it. So now I have a couple of like, you know, shorter little bits of holly. And again, I'm going to go along the bottom. So you can see why at the beginning I didn't have all the pieces like beside each other. I was randomly kind of putting it in. Now that was kind of a bit shorter so we could kind of work back there. And this one's a little bit longer. I always kind of find with holly, when you're cleaning off the stem, you end up losing a lot of the berry. So that's why if you can get some ilex to kind of give you more berry in and out through it, it works out brilliant.
Farah for Flora says, how long are you extended scholarship for? We're going to cut off the applications
Yeah,
from
so
the 31st of December.
Yeah, so there's no more applications. It's just we're extending the time so that we can actually get through them. And if you keep sending on more applications, we never
Yeah,
kind
so
of
no,
get
we're
to the
cutting
end.
off the applications on the 31st of December. We will be closing the scholarship page. And then it probably will be middle February, I'd say, before we eventually get to announce the winner. But don't worry, we will be announcing the winner. So we don't do something and not follow through on it. We will definitely do it. Elderwood Flower says, I'm prepping today for a beautiful wedding tomorrow. So I'm loving the company. Happy Christmas, girls. And thanks so much for all the laughs
You're more
throughout the
than
year.
welcome. And you know what you do there, Deirdre, is post up the link to your page. And then any of the people that are watching here, maybe you'll pop over. So Deirdre's one of our past students. Pop over to, not our Deirdre, the other Deirdre, Deirdre from Elderwood. And pop over to her page, give her a little follow, say happy Christmas to her. Because again, we know what it's like to try and get a bit of interaction on your page, you know, that way. And like Facebook starts to ignore you. If nobody's on your page and they're not interacting with you and they're not giving you a few likes or a few comments, Facebook kind of gets a bit... They kind of like ignore you.
They do.
And
Karen says, would a few artificial berry picks be okay in the wet foam?
it would be absolutely brilliant. And I'll just show you here, okay? You often hear me talking about evergreen silk plants, and this morning he sent me a couple of samples. I quickly opened the box and I just dragged this out of it. I thought this was amazing. Now you can cut up all them little pieces. Do you see where they're all like little individual ones? So you could cut up all them pieces, you could put a wire on it, and I'll actually show you because I have some wires here. You could wire them and you could add them in and out through it. So I think anybody, instead of using the fresh berries that I'm going to use, or if your holly had no berry on it, because when Deirdre's seen this, she says, oh, I'm going to use that, she says, in her mantelpiece. So it's €5 a stem. That includes the VAT, and that's from Charlie in Evergreen Silk Plants. So hopefully Charlie might be watching, and he might post up the link for it, or somebody might tag him there for me, or Sinead, are you busy or whatever? You might kind of tag Evergreen Silk Plants. And again, it's open to the public, so even if you're not trade, you can buy your artificial berries like from Charlie. He's absolutely lovely to deal with. And he's now also offering a range of floral foam. So again, anybody looking for floral foam, either in dry floral foam.
Oh, he's watching. He has posted his link. Yeah.
Brilliant. And he told me the price yesterday in the comments. Now, obviously, hopefully he'll correct me here. I think he said it was €14 for 20 blocks, okay? I could be wrong, okay? But anyway, he'll correct me here as we're going along. And as far as I know, I think that was including the VAT. So again, Charlie, answer all my questions there. How much is the the boxes of foam? And is there a minimum? And put your phone number up there in case anybody's looking for a date. Because he's a fine looking fella. Now,
he is, but he has a lovely Paula now, in fairness.
Paula, actually, yes.
Janette says, or Elizabeth says, F the begrudgers, positivity is the name of the game. Good to see the invisible Sinead. Happy Christmas and a prosperous 2022 to you all.
Thanks.
It's actually funny, we have a completely different crowd this morning to what we would have had on Wednesday night, which is great. Just Mairead Freeman says, good morning girls, she's really loving the Christmas course, just checking how long we have access to the Christmas course for. End of the year, 31st of December. Charlie says, yeah, $14.50 for 20 wet foams.
Yeah,
that's including the VAT.
That's an absolute bargain. So anybody that's looking for floral foam and wants to buy them bulk, now remember your floral foam will go off after approximately 6 months. A lot of people don't know that, okay? So you don't have it forever and ever and ever. This is the fresh foam that I'm talking about. Some of the suppliers don't even realise that it goes off. So it goes off after about 6 months. And mostly the reason is because people are storing in sheds or garages, okay? If it gets damp, if it gets extremely cold, if it gets frost, okay? Like basically the extreme cold, you will find that the oasis will start to go discoloured and it will go off. So just be careful of that. Again, if somebody like wanted floral foam but didn't want huge amounts of it, is there anybody else that would buy a box? You know what I mean? At €14 now, that's a bargain price, by the way. Even if you had to throw half it out, it'd be well worth it, wouldn't it, Deirdre? But what you could do is you could share a box with somebody else. Now, can you see what I'm doing?
Luxury Reeds Dublin says Charlie looks like Bertie Ahern.
I think he looks better. Bertie Ahern wears anoraks. Just when we seen Charlie now, he was in a nice little tin of fruit, wasn't he?
He was indeed, absolutely.
No, he's much better looking than Bertie Ahern. No, much better looking.
What would be the postage on a box of floral foam? Olivia is asking Charlie.
Charlie, what's the price? Come on, answer us there. Hopefully he's listening there. So again, you can see the way I'm filling in, and with obviously the back of the arrangement is not being filled in, but what I'm doing is I'm adding pieces of foliage there where you might kind of see them, do you know, that way to just kind of like help them parts there. I suppose Paula is out for us, is she?
I'd say she is. Audrey Keegan says, good morning ladies, trying to have a sneak peek when she's supposed to be working.
Hiya Audrey, how are you? So Audrey is up in Midas Touch, up in Clondalkin. So anybody that's looking to get their massage, false nails, laser treatment, tattooed eyebrows, what else did he do? Selling all the image products. Pop up there, tell Audrey that you know us, that you're a friend of ours. Audrey went to school with me, and I'd say there has to be a staff discount.
I'd say there has to be some, yeah.
There's a discount there. What's the boss up there called? Something Cleary.
Pauline.
Pauline is the boss. So you just get in contact with the boss, Pauline Cleary. You say, listen, Janette said she's a friend of yours and that you're offering a discount. And I'd say there's one for everyone.
I'd say there probably is. Siobhan says, morning girls, what a lovely thing to watch and learn on a Friday morning. Love listening to you. Thank you and Merry Christmas to all. Charlie says, if the total order is over €30, it's €5 postage.
That's for nothing.
If the total order is under €30, it's €10 postage.
Well, there you go. So you just make sure that you spend €30.
Yeah.
And as I said, like, he sells a fabulous range of artificial flowers. I'm not sure if he has his Valentine range in yet, you know, that way. But like, again, it would be brilliant, like, is that you could make up your €40 by buying in some artificial red roses. Because I tell you, it'll be no Lent after Christmas, and then we'll be starting talking about Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, do you know, that way, the wedding season.
Jackie says, Aldi have Ilex and Hypericum stems in, mixed with a bit of foliage for $2.99. Natalie said, the florist tried to charge me $2.50 per stem for Germany the other day. Is that normal? Absolutely. Flower prices are off the wall
at the moment.
They're off the wall. And you have to remember, florists are there all year round trying to keep business on the road. They are governed by the prices in Holland. There is a standard markup for florists. It's not like they're out to make a killing of you on Christmas. They're just making a living. So yeah, that's...
And the thing is, like, you know, I mean, I know Aldi could have a bargain this week, but if you want your white roses for a wedding and you go to Aldi this morning, they probably haven't got them. Do you know that way? Or if you want your cappuccino roses for your wedding in May, or I see the Pantone colour for next year is going to be kind of like the violets, the purples, the lilacs, the mauves, you know that way? So again, where your florists will source all them flowers in the colour, and that's basically what you're paying for. Where Aldi, they, and I'm not knocking Aldi, okay, but they kind of buy in, like, you know what I mean, what's kind of available, and what they're not able to guarantee you that they'll have white roses on Sunday morning or Thursday morning when you arrive, where your florist can actually offer that facility. So you can see here, I'm just cutting shorter little bits of the greenery and just kind of adding the sourgrass is what I meant to say, sorry. And I'm just kind of like adding it in and out through the arrangement. And you can see where I just kind of come up there a little bit higher just to kind of camouflage it. And again, I'm using, again, a couple of small bits. I just need to cut a couple more bits of this.
Christine says, Charlie, do we use the code? Do we have to use a code to get that deal? No, absolutely not. And I'm sure if you use the KAYSFS code, you might get the 10% off that as well.
All you have to do is tell Charlie you're a student of K's, whether you are or not, okay? Just tell him you're a student of K's and he'll look after you, you know that way. And he has great deals on the mystery boxes, okay? I know lots of the students have bought the mystery box off him. He does that deal ever so often. The best thing to do is follow his Facebook page. And again, if you go over and follow his Facebook page, obviously he'll put the link up there now, or his Instagram page. What you'll find is when you interact with the page yourself, Facebook will make it come up in your live threads, basically. Where if you don't interact with a page, Facebook will say, Ashley, you're not interested, and they won't let you see a page anymore. So it's really important, if you like a page or you want to be kind of kept notified of what's happening, it's kind of pop onto their page and go like, you know, like loads of the comments on the page. And as I said, Facebook will make it a little bit more accessible for you.
Charlie says, once Christmas is over, he has a whole new range of flowers and greenery on the way. Margaret Kennedy, you're so hardworking and yet so full of fun. A tonic, have a great Christmas.
Wish my husband would say that.
Anne Rose, happy Christmas. That's Anne down in County Mayo. Hey, Valerie, on another Mother of Sorrows, there is a lot of them about. Chica, for you always look fab. God, there's always someone out there to tear your arse down, but just don't let them tear your arse down.
This is it. Like, you know what I mean? I must actually find the comment and I'll screenshot it, you know what I mean? And then shoot.
When are you free to come to Donegal to do hers? Marion Carney wants to know.
Does Monday suit you better or Tuesday? You know what I mean? Monday or Tuesday next week.
Question for Deirdre, do you teach as well? I absolutely do.
And Deirdre trains teachers to be teachers.
Yeah, I train teachers to be teachers too. But yes, I would teach most of the techie stuff. When we're training our students about how to use Facebook and Instagram and all of that stuff as well.
Our courses aren't just floristry. Floristry obviously is the main thing, right? But we also teach you like marketing and selling and setting up your own business and accounts and running your business and selling yourself on social media. Plus, we also bring in experts, we do, you know, so we have Denise Inspired comes in quite regular, Louise MacDonald, we have, I can't remember what's...
Danielle Serpico,
but the Instagram
Kirsty.
Kirsty Rebuildagram.
Rebuildagram, yeah.
We've loads and loads. We have Rachel Cooper from the Floristry Business Hub. We have lots of like specialists come in and they do all these extra free classes with the students as well. And like once the student decays, always the student decays. I just need to stand back and have a look at this.
Okay, Dolores wants, love the lessons, going to try this today, love it, from London. Winnie wants to know, where is Charlie and what times is he open? So where is Charlie, Janette?
RD County Loud, and you have to say with that sort of an accent.
So up in RD in County Louth. Not sure if it's, but Sinead has just posted the link to Charlie's Facebook page. Charlie, are the stems with the berries that Janette showed you still available? She couldn't see them. They may not always be on the website.
These are only new, and I seen them up on his Facebook page last night, okay? So maybe just ring him about it. They mightn't be up on the website yet. So like this is the fresh version, okay? And the disaster, now this is brilliant in that it lasts for ages. It is very expensive, so be prepared. If you go into a flower shop, it is very expensive.
You're probably going to pay €6 or €7 a stem,
Easy.
Easy.
€6-7 a stem, and this is only short. So you can buy it 90 centimeters in length, and it'll be much, much more expensive. But like that's just 5 stems, and even to stand 3 of them in a vase, I'm not exaggerating when I say you'll still probably have a Patrick's weekend. It lasts for ages. Now it is a disaster when you're working with it, the berries fall off. And if you're wearing big hobnail boots like I am, me biker boots.
You're a bit old to be wearing biker boots.
I'm a bit old to be wearing them. But you know what? I was going to wear me pleathers this morning because I was wearing them in last year's photograph when you once said I was getting on with the age. And then I said, you know what, Janette? Root out the biker pleathers. So these are the biker pleathers. And then I said, feck it, I'm going to put on me biker boots as well. But what happens with these big hobnail boots is they walk the berries into the floor and all the berries are caught up in the soles. So that's going to be Sinead's job, running around with the dustpan here this morning, getting rid of all the berries that are loose on the floor. So you can see the way, you don't really need the real long one. Okay?
Teresa Malcolm Doherty said, question not answered for me. Teresa, if you ask the question again, if I don't answer it, because the comments are flying in here.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Let me see. Charlie has just put up his air code. I'm going to call it once and then you can look through the comments to find it. It's A92. YK20. He's open on Tuesday to Friday from 10 till 5 and Saturday and Sunday from 12 till 4. Thanks for that, Charlie. Evergreen Silk Plants is his Facebook page, his Instagram page, and obviously his business name. Let me see who we got. Okay, so I think I'm sort of at the end.
If anybody has any questions, just post them. Do you know that?
Perfect Petals by Angela King says, you're looking amazing. The gym work is paying off. Kicking your leg like that.
I haven't been at the gym now in ages. I have to say now I've been a little bit lazy. It's just been so hectic here in the school. I kind of had to just kind of give it a miss, but I'll definitely have to get me arse back in gear, as they say, and get back to the gym.
Thelma says she put Christmas order in with Charlie, was waiting on the order for 2 weeks, it didn't arrive, emailed Charlie, it had got lost in the post. Charlie sent another order immediately, very efficient, delighted with the order. Thank you, Charlie. His service is great, have to say.
Great service.
Virginia says Mary.
We went to a Paula made us sandwiches.
She did and all, yeah.
So not saying that you wouldn't have sandwiches for you too, but just putting it out there, you know, that way. He is brilliant. Now I'm going to show you how to wire the artificial stuff. I'm just going to get a couple of wires here. So these are just 20 gauge wires, okay? So what you can do with you could use that coming up there and you could cut off the pieces you don't want, right? But say if you have, to get good value out of this, is you could cut this up. There you go. So say like a piece like that. Now again, you could cut that into 2 smaller pieces. So just to show you, it's all about getting good value out of it. So there we have, you see, just 2 smaller pieces. And what you do then with your 20 gauge wires is, you know when I was teaching you how to wire the pine cone, the way I brought it in between the petals? Well, with the berries here is I'm just kind of hooking it around one of the berries and bending it over. The trick always is long wire, short wire, and the long wire gets wrapped around the short wire. And there it is, you see, on the wire. And a little trick for you, when you're inserting it into the floral foam, rather than just sticking the wire in on its own, because it's not real heavy, but it's obviously heavy-ish, okay? Make a little hook at the end of the wire. Hopefully you can see that there, right? And then stick the hook into the floral foam. Do you know that way? I have one under my arm here at the same time. And see the way you can bring the berry in. So again, I'll just do another one. So that's the other half of it, okay? That was one of the bigger pieces that I cut in two. So I'm hooking the wire in around the berries and making like a hook. Do you see, like a little hairpin bend? And then I'm going to wrap the long wire around the short wire. If it happens to go around the stem as well, absolutely brilliant. So there's your piece wired. And before you stick it into the floral foam, make a little hook, like bend it up into a little hook, find a little spot, and then stick it into your
Now, can I just say, make sure they come back out, because they're from mine.
I don't. Okay, I'll take them back out again. It's there for Deirdre's arrangement. So you can imagine now the value. Do you see that? Like, you know what I mean? So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You'll definitely get 10
easily,
good
yeah.
for €5, and all you need then is the wires. So it's excellent. They would look well also in the holly wreaths. You know, anybody with the holly wreaths or the Christmas door wreaths, and you're looking for a little bit of berry to go through it, again, that would add kind of like good value to it.
Sarah, and I think she'd asked this question already, she loves the eucalyptus. What type is it? I think it's the Glaucessin, is it, Sinead? The Glaucessin eucalyptus. I think that's what we ordered. Jackie, absolutely love your work. So talented, and you make it so enjoyable to watch. I love everything you do.
I just want to show them something here. So again, with the ilex, you see the way I've cut off like the smaller pieces. So where so far I've been mostly using bigger pieces. So now this is obviously the fresh one. So I'm going to do similar. I'm going to hook the wire kind of up there where the berries are, and then bend it down. So I have a long wire and a short wire. Wrap the long wire around the short one. It also happened to go around the stem as well. And there's our fresh ilex wired up. Now, even if that doesn't tip the water, it'll still last because it just dries out, it does. And like even when they dry out, like the little berries it takes ages before they shrivel up, but they shrivel up, it still looks fine. So again, you can cut your wire a little bit, don't cut too much off the wire because you have to make the hairpin bend. So anytime you're sticking wires into floral foam, make a little hairpin bend, and then you can stick it into the floral foam, gives it an extra bit of security, and it'll support the item. Where if you just stick the wire in on its own, it'll probably fall out. So again, just to show you, small bit of ilex, I'm catching it kind of around the berry up high, making our hairpin bend, wrap the long wire around the short wire, it did happen to catch the stem as well, fold it up, you know what I mean, that you're making a hairpin bend, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, find a little spot, and see the way you can stick the small bits in. So again, with the fresh ilex, is you can get really good value. Like you don't have to use the full stems like I've been doing. I did on the taller parts of the arrangement, and again, you can see the berries. Sinead is going to have an awful job picking up all these berries, okay? Because I agreed to clean the sitting room beforehand, okay? But I said they better clean it up after me, do you know that way? Because I knew this was going to make a right mess.
Veronica said she got all her greenery earlier on from Wicklow, and that Stuart and Ursula are brilliant to deal with. They absolutely are. Linda, love the ilex berry. The pop of red that you're using in the demo really adds to the festive.
Now I have red roses as well that I'm going to add in through it.
Margaret wants to know, cheeky question, does Deirdre do her own mantelpiece? I do my own, and actually I do normally video it, but on a fast forward type video because Janette can't work the cameras, that's the problem. I can do what Janette does, but she can't do what I do.
And the once or twice that we did go to do it, I ended up making an arse of it all together. And then everybody's watching for the cameras to come on. I'm behind the camera, everything has gone dead, I'm after losing it. And Deirdre's there ready to start, nothing happens. And then we have to start the whole thing again. So I'm just a bit thick when it comes to the techie part of it. So again, I'm just giving this one a little bit of a wire. I'm making a hairpin bend on it, and I just want to catch this in down here a little bit lower. So again, even though that one is tipping the floral foam, do you know that way is you can put an extra wire on it to give it an extra bit of security. Now you can keep going. So out of the 5 stems, I still have that left over. So if you're trying to make a list of roughly what I'm using, 4 to 5 stems of the ilex. Now what I have is a couple of longer roses. So these are just red roses. Now, I know I was planning on doing another colour, but you all voted for red. But one advantage of using the red roses is they just dry out. And when they dry out, they still kind of keep their red tinge. Where with other colour flowers, like the cappuccino I was planning on using, when they dry out, they actually look dead. You know, that way. Where you will find with the red ones, they still keep their colour. You can remove the guard petals around the outside if you want. And again, we have already conditioned and treated these roses. So I'm going to bring one or two just up here a little bit higher in the arrangement. And that was why I had the extra bit of foam. If you remember from the start, now, if anybody is late joining us, you know that way you can watch it from the very, you can always watch this on the replay, but you can rewind it back to the beginning, where you'll see then the mechanics, you know that way, and I gave kind of a breakdown of what I was using. I will kind of, maybe Sinead, you might count these roses for me as I'm going along. I'm on 4 roses so far, okay? And what you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm kind of like staggering them down through the display. Do you know that way? So can you see the way I brought a little bit of a swagger down through it? And now I'm going to do something similar on the opposite side. So I have 5 in on that side, Sinead, okay? So I'm 1 over here.
Joanne says she loves the red roses, but they are so expensive. They are crazy.
And they're going to be even madder money.
Next week.
Madder money next week, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a new word for you, is madder.
Flower prices are done on a supply and demand, and growers can only grow a certain amount of flowers. So every week a grower could grow, we say for pig iron, 1,000 roses, and every week they might sell 1,000 roses. But obviously at Christmas and Valentine's, everybody wants the roses, so the roses, they go to an auction and they go up in price, and it's completely out of our control.
So just to show here again, Deirdre, like, you know what I mean, probably could do with another one there, but for the moment, okay, I cut that one too short. So there we have
Make a mistake.
Swagger.
I would
never make mistakes.
I wouldn't have made a mistake on my one.
So there's what, 10 roses in that so far. You know, like, just to kind of give you an idea, if you're trying to kind of like price it up. And again, like, it's the angle of your flowers. It's like everything in life. The angle is really, really important, okay? Not just your length, okay? So like, angle your roses that you're seeing the best side of it. Now then what I did, rather than buying loads and loads of long stem roses, I also, and then cutting them real short, was I cheated and I bought some short stem roses. So these were much, much cheaper. They're still the same variety of rose, but they're obviously, because they're half the length, they were much, much cheaper. So that helps. So again, that person that was saying, now they're still going to be expensive like next week and the week after. But like, if you don't need 90 centimetre roses, and you're then going to cut them to 40 centimetre, buy 45 or 50 centimetre roses, because with roses you pay by the length. So the longer they are, the dearer they are. So what I'm going to do with these shorter roses now is a little bit of a zigzag. Do you know what I mean? So you can see there's a rose up and there's a rose down.
Carol Shaw said, it's looking stunning, girls. Happy Christmas to you both, and thanks for all the tutorials.
Thanks,
great fun and very informative.
Again, putting that one longer, you see that it's kind of like hanging down slightly. So even though I'm still doing the zigzag, do you see the way I'm trying not to be too regular with it, okay?
Fair Flare of Flowers says, could you put some carnations in and mix them with the roses?
Carnations would be brilliant, you know, that way. And like a couple of large carnations and maybe a couple of baby carnations. And a little tip for you, now personally, I always think the burgundy carnations look more expensive or more glamorous looking than red carnations. To me personally, I always think red carnations look a bit cheap looking, and they're grand, okay? But if you get burgundy ones, there's a colour called Clove, C-L-O-V-E. Personally, I think they look so much nicer. And again, as they die, and they kind of go, you know, a little bit black around the edges. Now, you'll get 2-3 weeks out of them. But when they die, they still actually look well. Where with the red large carnation, when that dies and it goes a bit black around the edge, you can see it's dead. You know, that way. Where the wine one, you get away with murder. So just a little trick for you there.
We haven't actually asked anybody to share. We're being a little bit more relaxed today.
We have been a little bit more relaxed. You know, that way, if I had a cup of tea here now, I'd be grand, wouldn't I?
But I'm sure you know the drill, and we would love if you shared it. But sure.
We really appreciate you share, because again, you know what I mean, we depend on you to get the Facebook kind of page kind of going. So by you interacting with us, when it's click like, put a little comment up, even if it's just to say, Jesus, she's looking older again today. I don't mind, say whatever you want. And then if you click share, It does amazing things for our Facebook page. Like our Christmas video from the other night was absolutely brilliant, you know what I mean? And I think at the moment it has reached, is it 30,000? 30-odd thousand people that video has reached. And that's all thanks to you, because you're sharing it, you're commenting, and you're clicking the likes. So we really, really appreciate it.
And we're 8,000 away from 1 million reach this month.
Brilliant.
You know, so for the month of December, we have nearly reached 1 million people on our Facebook page, which is phenomenal. And again, it's thanks to you guys, you know, for
I haven't been counting to Sinead, have you? It's not the little one, but I have a quick count of them little ones there when you get a second.
Siobhan says, biker boots for the win. She shared it as well.
Thanks a million.
Let me see.
Now, so now I've done a little bit of a zigzag, okay? And now I'm going to be kind of like looking more for cop-on spots. You see that I'm kind of like bringing the rose kind of outwards. And again, if you look at the roses, by angling them, do you know that way that you're seeing all the heads? Like common mistakes people do is they have all the flowers pointing the same way. You know what I mean? Angle your flower. Have a flower looking up, have a flower looking down, have a flower looking out at you. Zigzag them. Different lengths, you know that way. And you see, I absolutely measure nothing. And I know there'll be people, like I admitted, I says, I should have made that one longer. But just so what? This is a handmade, made by these loving hands, okay? It's a handmade, a homemade, because I'm working from home. It's a homemade, handmade flower arrangement. We're doing it for fun. We're doing it for decoration. It's a bit like the Christmas tree. I have thousands of decorations, hundreds anyway, of decorations on the Christmas tree. And to some people they say, God, that's really, it's jammed full, you can't get another feckin' ornament onto it. And you probably can't, you know that way. But I love it, and we had great fun putting it up, you know what I mean? And like even down to the shitty little ornaments that the kids made when they were small. Like my eldest is 31, and there's things on that Christmas tree that he made when he was in play school, and I still have them, and I still put them on the tree, you know that way. So at the end of the day, when you're decorating your own arrangement, it's for your own pleasure, so do it the way you want to do it. And at the end of the day, even if this was for a wedding, you'd still get away with it for a wedding, if it was a red wedding. I just need to stand back and
Joanne says her husband said that she's very messy when she's doing her flowers, but she tells him if it's good enough for Janette, it's good enough for me.
Like messy as in your style is kind of untidy, is that kind of what he means, you know?
I'd say probably a mess on the floor, a bit like the magic bin.
Oh, but then see, that's because you were trained by me. So like, I am probably the worst person in the world to train people to be neat and tidy. And again, that was another comment, like last year's mantelpiece arrangement, like the amount of people that said, like, oh my God, look at the way she's throwing all the stuff on the floor. I don't have any tables here, you know what I mean? I'm working in midair. You see the way, I have two little nested tables.
We have a great cleaner.
We have a great cleaner, exactly. So it's a bit like living in a big house with loads of windows. You don't buy a house with loads of windows unless you employ a window cleaner. Do you know the way? So we're a bit like that. So that's why we brought Sinead home. We did. That was why we brought her home.
Dodie over on Instagram says, looking fantastic. Love the great tips and the honesty. We learn from mistakes. Happy Christmas.
Absolutely, absolutely. You learn by your mistakes.
Joanne says the magic bit.
Magic bit. Exactly. So Deirdre, from a distance there, anywhere for
yeah, no, it looks okay. I think again this corner that you're over this side.
Yeah, I'm probably neglecting that corner.
You are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So come back over here and just have a look. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're dead right.
You know, and that's the angle that they're seeing. So.
All right. I better fix this if this is where they're seeing.
Or you'll be getting awful comments. Caroline said, loving this as much as I loved the last year's one. Well done, ladies, and thanks for the demos. Wishing you happy Christmas.
Oh, thanks a million. Really appreciate it.
Oh, Bernie Hurley has tuned in. Happy Christmas, Bernie.
How are you?
Eileen over in Birmingham. Good morning, ladies. Thanks for all your time and support. She's not a Facebook user. No, I can actually see her name.
Whatever it is about poor Eileen in Birmingham, we can never see her name. She always seems to come up as a Facebook user.
She said, God bless you all. Have a fantastic Christmas and an absolutely fantastic New Year. Olive says, I think you learn a lot more when you're in a happy environment. Absolutely. You know, there's enough tough things out there for other people.
You know that way. Like, and even people here, like, you know, I mean, I know Bernie, like, she's lost her her
brother.
Father. No, it was her father.
Oh, was her dad, was it right?
Her dad's there throughout the year. And there's lots of you, like, even the class that we had recently, one of them lost their mother-in-law, sorry. Two of them came down with COVID. Kids were sick, snotty noses, you name it. This is always the sort of things that happens. Probably don't need what do you call it?
The spray roses. No, I think it actually looks lovely.
I think there's plenty. What do you think here?
Yeah, you could probably do with something there. Bernie McCluskey says, thank you girls for all your help and for getting me through the other side of COVID. You've done so much for people out there. Wishing you and your family a happy Christmas.
Thanks a million. Appreciate that.
I think the old woman from the hospital bed cop. I'm thinking of the old woman from the hospital bed cop
No,
on,
she's not
cop
called
on.
an old woman, she's called an L one. Listen, you weren't listening to the class right. She's
That's
called
Emer.
an L one. Hey, Emer. The L one in the other bed. She doesn't even get the title of the lady or the old person or the hospital bed. We always use the L one in the other bed. So that's for anyone that's new that's watching. When we're making the arrangements with the students, and you know what I mean, and especially when you're making a front-facing arrangement, people are inclined to forget about the back of the arrangement, and I always make them turn it around on their turntable, look at the back of the arrangement, and I always say the L1 in the other bed, that's all she has to look at. So it's really important to look at the L1 in the other bed, like that part of the arrangement. Thank God the L1 next door, unless she has micros vision, she can't see through the wall, you know what I mean? But her daughter is one of our students.
Yeah,
she knows I'm only messing. So Mrs. Murphy is next door, but thank God anyway, she can't see through the wall. I don't think she can. She can probably hear us, but she can't see through the wall. And again, that's why I just stuck down little pieces. You see down the back there.
In case you can.
In case she can. Just in case she's X-ray vision and she looks in. So what do you think, Tina?
Yeah, that looks fab. Absolutely. I think it looks fab anyway.
I'm happy enough. Now I know we're always going to have the begrudgers, and what about that cop on spot, and what about that cop on spot? The idea, these roses are only in a day or two. They're all going to blow. Like, that's the variety of that rose. They'll blow out open really, really wide. They won't be a great lasting flare. Roses wouldn't be the best lasting. But one good thing about red roses, if you've treated them well, okay, it'll keep the heads up for you. And then as they die, they'll dry out, you know what I mean? And the red ones keep their colour. They will kind of go a browny black colour, but you'll keep the colour and they'll still like look well for the new year, you know, that way. And we'll definitely have to take it apart at the new year. So I hope you
Domestic Goddess says, that is beautiful. Come down to Cork and she'll happily clean up the mess.
Thanks a million. A tea now and a bicky after.
And a bicky.
Huge thanks for everybody joining in. We really, really appreciate it. As I said, we appreciate all the support that we get from everybody, not just our students, you know, that way. People all over the world, our followers. Like, as I said, by you, even you just click that like, click that share, or just even say, Jesus, Janette, you should get your hair done. We don't mind. Say whatever you like, because at the end of the day, it's a positive. Because once you interact with our page, it's a positive. And again, it helps them to kind of spread the word, you know, that way. And like with our business gone online, we completely depend on Facebook and on Instagram and obviously YouTube. Are we on YouTube?
Yeah, we are on YouTube, and we've lots of comments on YouTube as well. I've been calling out some of them. Karen says she's done a course with us 25 years ago. Jeanette,
now making me feel old.
You've not changed a bit, she says.
Thanks. You're the best student in the world. You are. Fair play to you. I really love you.
Yeah, no, that's all. There's loads of lovely comments coming in. Do you want to quickly show me your Christmas tree?
Show you my Christmas tree. So, as you know, Nanny Kay is a great knitter and crocheter, and you've seen me wearing the hairbands that she's made for me. Even the other night, like I had a hairband. So you can see where she makes these little ornaments. You see the way they're all little crocheted ornaments, right? And that's actually Deirdre and her husband and
Cara's confirmation.
I think actually it's Ben. Ben and Cara and Deirdre are in that photograph. So our Christmas tree is like a little family tree. You know, I think there's Deirdre again. I'm probably more photographs of Deirdre. But when we're putting up the tree, like, it's just amazing. I'll show you some of the other ones that she makes there. So this is the old ones. Now that's again Deirdre's son and her two sons actually, and she used to make them like with the little tinsel. And do you remember I said I have all the ornaments from the kids, you know, that way. So that was one that Ben made. Now Ben is 21 now. I wouldn't say he made that last year in college, would you?
No, I wouldn't think so.
He made it a few years ago. And again, I put them all. The tree is jam-packed, it is, you know, that way. Again, I have this is actually Sinead's two kids over in Scotland, Charlie and Craig there, and that's kind of like again where Nanny Kay has made like little ornaments. So it's like a memory tree where you have hundreds and hundreds of photographs and different years. You can see where she obviously advanced on to making the baubles, and again you can see like that's actually Deirdre's little one making loads of photographs of Deirdre's kids.
Yeah.
And these are little ornaments that she crocheted, and they sold them for charity last year for I think
The
it's
daycare centre, I think it was, yeah.
in Rialto. So I had to go over to the chemist and I had to buy some. And this is actually my husband's mum with his sister. And I know Margaret down in County
Actually, just turn it around. We'll be able to see it. Oh, go on, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And there you go. So like we have all these little ornaments. And as I said, I love me tree. And to some people, they probably think it's really messy and really untidy because I've everything jammed onto it. So anyway, that's enough about me and my house and all the rest. I won't show you the rest of it because it's in bits. But really, a really huge thanks for joining in. Hope you enjoyed the class. I will go through all the comments. As you know, we do respond to everybody. And during the week, next week, Monday to Friday, we have loads of extra little classes and extra little videos coming up each day. And how to make different types of wreaths. Because the other night, I only got to make 2 wreaths with you. So I actually have 4 more wreath classes. And they're going to come up each morning next week. And I also have little tip classes on how to, what did we do there the other day? Oh, how to hang your wreath on the door. How to preserve your wreath. And all the little questions that we got asked. We made a little video. I hear Rudolph coming there, so I better go there. Listen, huge thanks everybody. Bye bye and talk to you all very soon.